Stop waiting for the perfect time to build your brand. Let's be honest, how long have you been waiting for the perfect time to build your dreams? Weeks? Months? Years? The idea of a perfect time is one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves. It doesn't exist, and the more you wait for it, the more it slips away. Here's the thing. Waiting doesn't protect you from failure and doesn't make the process any easier. It only guarantees one thing. You look back and you wish you would have started sooner. If you're feeling called to create something, the best time to start is right now. There is no thing as the perfect time, but if there was, New Year's would come as close to it as possible. Winter is a season of quiet reflection, a natural time to plan, dream, and plant the seeds for something amazing. By spring, you could already be nurturing real growth, and come fall, you'll be harvesting the results of your efforts. So let's talk about why today is the best day to start taking action, why starting small is more powerful than you think, and how to finally overcome the fears that are holding you back. But before we talk about all that, hi creators, if you're new here, I'm Vanessa from Zen, an all-encompassing branding and web design studio where we help you tap into your CEO energy and finally live the life of your dreams. If you're enjoying this video, please check out my channel where I make content specifically for women wellness entrepreneurs. Give this video a like and subscribe so that I know that you're watching. Let's begin. Today's topic really hits close to home for me, and I bet it does the same for many of you. How many times have you been scrolling through Instagram and you see someone thriving in a space you've dreamt of entering for ages? They're sharing their message, they're connecting with their audience, and they're really living the life that you have envisioned for yourself. And what's your first thought? I could have been there too if I had started earlier. Why is this topic so personal to me? I wanted to launch a YouTube channel 5 years ago when I first started my business. I didn't really know what I was going to be talking about, but I knew that I had a strong pull to begin this journey. But I didn't. I told myself that I needed to perfect my brand, my voice, my video editing skills. Well, guess what happened? 4 years passed and I still hadn't started. And when I finally decided to take the leap at the beginning of the year, I was thrilled, but also a little bit frustrated. I couldn't help but think how much farther along I would have been if I had started sooner. Here's the thing, you're never going to be 100% ready. There will always be something else you think you'll need to learn or perfect before you begin. But the truth is, starting is the only way that you can gain clarity, confidence, and the experience you need in order to grow. Don't let perfectionism rob you of your potential. I think this is a really interesting topic to think about and talk about in the wellness and spiritual and manifesting world, because on the one hand, you know you need to take action, but then on the other, we constantly tell ourselves that things are unfolding at the right time. And I do agree with that. It's not that I don't agree that things are happening right now for a reason, but at the same time, you have to take a look at what you're saying to yourself and what sort of path you want to go down on. At what point will you decide that you're just going to take action and see what happens, rather than waiting for that perfect time, for the time to feel aligned? And for me, that moment came again when I looked back at the beginning of the year, and I remember my want to create videos and to start a YouTube channel, and I realized that I was ashamed of the fact that I hadn't done it yet. I had just been talking about it, but never actually done it. It's not like I was telling a lot of people and I felt like I wasn't standing up to my potential, but the problem was that I was telling myself, and then I was constantly letting myself down for not doing it. And I realized after 4 years that all those lies that I had told myself, all of those reasons as to why I shouldn't begin, I couldn't even really remember them. I couldn't remember why it was never the perfect time to start. And it left me wondering, how much longer can I be okay with not becoming the person that I want to become? And don't get me wrong, starting YouTube has been really hard. I mean, I truly enjoy making the videos, but it does take a lot of work, right? It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of planning, it takes a lot of editing. And you also don't get that instant gratification. When you start a channel, people are not gonna jump and start listening to you right away. And you have to be okay with that. And on the one hand, of course it is like that. That's the case with everything that we do in life. We cannot be amazing from the beginning. But I think we do live in a world that likes to glamorize those stories of instant success, of overnight success. But that's just really not how it happens. You do have to grind, you have to put in the work, and you have to show up consistently, right? And I think when it comes to us women in wellness, when it comes to us that are more connected spiritually, we're working on our manifestations, and we're constantly working on ourselves to become the person that we want to be. Well, in order to become that person, we have to have the habits of that future us. Because I can sit here all day long and manifest myself being a successful YouTuber, but if I don't have any videos, I could manifest all day long, right? I could visualize all day long. But if I don't actually take the steps necessary, if I don't actually make videos and I don't put myself out there, I'm never going to wake up in a world where I am a successful manifester, right? And I think you really have to take a hard look at what have you been doing, what have you been dreaming to create, what have you been telling yourself that you will start when the time is right, and be real with yourself and ask yourself, is this something that you're really willing to put in the work to achieve? Because if it is, you have to start right now. And if it isn't, you can let that dream go and focus your energy on something else that you want to create. And it doesn't matter what you choose, but at least let yourself be free of the burden that's weighing you down of wanting to start, right? So if you do want to do it, then go ahead and start right now. And I'm going to talk about how a little later. And if you don't think you have what it takes and you don't want to do it, then just let it go and move on to something else. Focus your attention elsewhere. The thing is, you decide what you want to do. And if so, take one small action towards your dream today. Whether it's writing down your ideas, buying a domain name, or brainstorming content, that first step will help you break the cycle of hesitation and finally set the wheels in motion. And remember that big dreams are built one step at a time. One of the biggest misconceptions about building a brand is that you have to go all in all at once. Launch a website, create a service, sell a product, master social media. Honestly, it's overwhelming just thinking about it. But here's the thing, you don't have to do everything right away. In fact, I really don't recommend it. Instead, I want you to think about building your brand as planting a garden. You don't plant every seed in one day and expect instant harvest. You start small, you nurture each seed, giving it the time and attention that it needs to grow. Right now, we live in an instant gratification world. We're 100% connected all of the time we constantly see other people doing what we want to do and doing it now. So it's no wonder that we want to put in as little effort as possible and expect massive results overnight. But that's just not how things work. And honestly, I don't think it should work like that anyway, because building a brand, especially building a soul-led brand, means that you have to put so much energy and effort and intention into everything that you create, and doing it haphazardly just won't have the same impact. I think we all want to live our dream lives right now in this moment, but sometimes I feel like we need to take a step back and realize that building our dream lives is such an opportunity. Every single day we get to wake up and do something that we want for ourselves. Obviously, there are many situations out there, but if you're watching this video, you probably live in a comfortable home, you have a comfortable life, there's no wars, you're not starving, and just having the option to sit there and think about your dreams and just visualize this ideal life, that's such a privilege. And I think we just don't appreciate that enough, to have the opportunity to actually work on our dreams. Do you know how many people are out there that can't even afford to dream? And yet here we are, able to dream, able to build this future for ourselves, and we still want instant gratification. But honestly, it's like that saying, we're happier going on vacation than coming back from it. Working towards something is just so much better than having already had it. How many stories have you heard of rich people that are super miserable? How many stories have you heard of people that have accomplished massive amounts of wealth, but something was still missing? And it's like, when you hear those stories, I feel so, like when I hear those stories, I feel so privileged and I feel so good. And I'm so thankful for the journey that I'm taking. And I'm so grateful that every day I can wake up and work on my brand and build this for myself. And sometimes I like to think about how it's gonna be in a couple of years from now, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, and how I'm gonna look back and think, that was such a fun part of my life. I'm so grateful that I was able to do that. I'm getting off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I just want you to know that the process is just as enjoyable as the result itself. And also, when you get that result, you know, you're gonna be wanting something else. So I just think that doing one thing at a time, taking the time to really create something intentional, it's so cool and it's so powerful. And it's like, at the end of the day, we are creators. We get to create our own reality. So it's like, why not just take the time and infuse ourselves into every single piece that we're creating and we're putting out there into the world? So here's how you do that with your brand. Start by creating a vision board. Visualize your brand's aesthetic, your dream clients, and the impact that you want to make. Pinterest is a great tool for this. And we also have a freebie that lets you create your vision board and download it as a desktop wallpaper that you can find in the description below. The next small action step that you can take today is start a blog or a newsletter. Sharing your thoughts and ideas is a simple way to start connecting with your audience right away. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you can just start sharing your voice. You can also pretty much do it for free. For email marketing, a MailerLite has a free tier for up to 1,000 subscribers. So you can just start sending emails right away, start building an audience right away. And Substack is also a great platform it's really for newsletters, but you can also view them as blogs, but you can start an audience there. You can also start a podcast. That is also a good idea and a way in which I have seen people grow their brands. Podcasting requires minimal editing and it can still have a really big impact. So that's another great way to start connecting with your audience and just start letting your ideas flow out. Finally, as a small action step that you can start before everything else, I would encourage you to experiment with creating content, video content especially. So whether it's Instagram Reels, TikToks, start creating some form of video content because that really is the way of the future. I do really like blogs. I like newsletters. Emails are very good still. People read their emails every single day. They still read blogs, but video is just next level. It's the future and you definitely have to be on video. So if you're someone that's uncomfortable showing up on video, I would say start right now before you have a big platform, before you have an audience, because it's gonna be a lot harder and you're gonna feel a lot more pressure to do everything perfectly once you have an audience. Breaking this whole idea down once again, instead of focusing on creating everything all at once, choose one thing to start with. So if writing feels natural to you, start by writing a blog. If visuals are more your thing, go on Instagram or Pinterest. The key here is to start with something that you actually enjoy, not something that overwhelms you, because you don't want to block yourself at the very first step. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest hurdles that are keeping you from starting. Fear of what others will think. Whether we like to admit it or not, we all think about how we are perceived in this world. Will people judge me? What if I fail? These thoughts can paralyze even the most ambitious dreamers. And if you're like me, I know that you want everything to be absolutely perfect before you share it with the world. But let's be honest, most people are too focused on their own lives to even care about what you're doing with yours. They're really not here to critique you. And even if you do something that you think could be perceived as embarrassing, chances are most people haven't even noticed. And those who do, they're not your audience anyway. Another thing that really helps me with this is the fact that as women in wellness, we're surrounded by a community of really nice, genuine people. Very rarely will you see these girls staring each other down, and I just think that gives me so much comfort because I know that when my audience is going to find me, they're all going to be nice and they're gonna be supportive and I'm not gonna feel judged at all. But if you're still worried about judgment, here's a simple solution. Don't tell anyone. Build your dreams in private. Keep it close to your heart until you're ready to share it with the world. Create for yourself first. This isn't about proving anything to anyone else. It's about honoring the vision that's been placed in your heart. I know so many women who have started small, working on their dreams quietly in the background while balancing full-time jobs, motherhood, and other life demands. One friend began her wellness coaching business by blogging anonymously for a year. By the time she went public, she had a library of content and a clear vision. And starting in secret gave her the freedom to experiment without fear. Ask yourself, if no one would judge you, what would you create? And take one step towards making that real. I really like the analogy that life is like the seasons. It's an analogy introduced to me by one of my mentors, Jim Rohn, and it truly is like that. For example, winter is a season for rest and reflection. The hustle of the holidays is behind us, and the renewal of spring is still on the horizon. This makes it the perfect time to plan, dream, and take small, intentional steps forward. Think of winter as the season for preparation. Just like farmers prepare the soil and plant seeds long before harvest, you can use this time to lay the foundation for your brand. And if you're watching this, right around the new year, start with relaxed planning, journaling, brainstorming, and mapping out your vision. By spring, you'll be ready to take bolder steps, and by fall, you'll have something tangible to celebrate. What can you do this winter? Brainstorm your brand's mission and message. Research platforms and tools that align with your vision. Create a plan for the next 6 months, focusing on one goal at a time. You owe it to yourself and the world to do this. This is another personal topic. Despite making up half the population, women own only a fraction of all the businesses out there. And that's not because we lack ideas or the drive. It's because society hasn't always encouraged us to step up and claim our space. When we started our branding and web design studio 5 years ago, people told us that we were making a mistake by working exclusively with women. They said that we were limiting ourselves, but we knew what we were doing. We weren't just building a business, we were creating a space for women to thrive, to step into their power and to rewrite their narrative. In other words, we're working for the girlies. Your dream is bigger than you. It's about showing the next generation of women that their dreams are valid, important, and achievable. So what are you waiting for? Let me ask you this, if not now, when? Waiting for the perfect time won't get you closer to your goals. Taking action, no matter how small, will. Start today, start small. Write down your ideas, sketch out your vision, or create something just for you. Your future self will look back and thank you for taking that first step. The world needs more women like you. Women with the courage to dream big and the determination to bring those dreams to life. If you found this video valuable, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Again, I'm Vanessa from Zen, a branding and web design studio where we help you tap into your CEO energy and finally live the life of your dreams. Thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year, and I'll see you in the next one.